So along with the Larian Gazette community update number 20, which I covered earlier, we also got an article on the PlayStation blog as well, which offers some additional information, which is really interesting. We have another screenshot showing the character creation screen, which has changed, which is a good change in my opinion. So the obviously we can see the half-orc here, half-orc barbarian here, but the sequence of the tabs has changed. So if we hop into the game, you will see that currently, obviously, okay, here we have the same tab. The origin is first, and then it asks you to choose a race, appearance, class here, skills, and abilities. The final game, you get origin, and then you choose your race, which makes more sense. And then you choose your class, and then the background, and then you get to assign the abilities, and then the skills, and then you choose how you look. So this makes far more sense than what's currently in patch 9 of early access. What would, in my opinion, make even more sense, but that's just my opinion, is if after the origin you had to choose your class first, because that's the way when I create a character, I normally think about, okay, if it's not going to be an origin character, what do I want my class to be? And that, because I tend to min-max my builds and stuff, that whatever class I choose to be would also sort of dictate what race I want to be as well afterwards. So it would make sense for me, at least, to have the class tab second rather than the race. But anyway, this sequence makes far more sense than what's currently in the game. Again, the screenshot actually shows a few more tabs here. So after the race, you can probably choose a sub-race as well. And then the class, backgrounds, abilities, skills, and then you also get another tab after skills called skills expertise, which isn't on the above tab, which is weird. So I'm not sure whether it's actually, the menu actually expands depending on what you choose, or whether it's two different versions of the game and one of them's later on, kind of a more final version, if you like. I don't know. Anyhow, this sequence of tabs, or choices anyway, you have to make when creating your character makes far more sense in my opinion. If we scroll down here, when we get into the appearance tab, we can actually choose body type, which is interesting. So you apparently have 4 choices of body type. I don't know whether it's 4 choices per gender, or if it's just 4 choices in general. I think it probably is 4 choices in general rather than being 4 choices per gender. And then there's a maturity tab, which I guess you can choose your character's age. You can age your character or have them appear as young. That makes sense. And then also you can add freckles, which is a nice touch. So if we scroll down in the article, we can see a nice screenshot of Jaheira here. And then also our all-time favorite Minsk, but there is no sign of Boo. I'd be very surprised if they didn't add Boo in the game. I think it's just probably a something they want to keep wrapped up just to surprise everyone, probably. Again, they mentioned the fact that Karlach will be an Origin character. But what's the most interesting thing I saw in the article, which I don't think was mentioned in the community update number 20, is literally the last sentence that says that during the final panel from Hell on July 7th, they will introduce the 7th and final Origin character. So Karlach would be number 6, and then there's a mystery number 7. So if we look at my cheat sheet here, my snippet, or my notes anyway, we've got Will, who's a warlock, Astarion's a rogue, Shadowheart's a cleric, Gale is a wizard, Lae'zel is a fighter, Karlach barbarian, Halsin druid, Jaheira possibly druid fighter multiclass, I don't know, because multiclass is also a thing as well. Minsk is by default a ranger, but might be a ranger slash barbarian multiclass. It would kind of tie in with his character. Minthara we know is a paladin. Then as bard, we know that an NPC called Alfira is in the game, so we meet her at the druid camp and we help her develop a song. And we also know from one of the previous one of the most recent videos that Larian released, that we can actually meet her in Baldur's Gate. So we know she's singing, so she's probably a bard. We encounter Volo, who can actually follow us to the camp, and then there's sort of the whole sequence where you can actually have him operate on your eye to remove the Mind Flayer parasite. So we know he's recruitable in the camp. Obviously, the monk's the new class, and we don't really have any NPC who's a monk. As far as I know, we also don't know whether we have a sorcerer NPC either. So it seems like we almost have whether it's an origin character or a companion, we almost have one of every class apart from Halsin and Jaheira, which overlap on the druid, and would be theoretically missing monk and sorcerer. So yeah, and bard, sorry, and bard. So it's a major guessing game as to who on earth the 7th Origin character would be, whether it's a completely new character that we haven't seen at all, which kind of makes sense, seeing as the monk's going to be newly introduced. But I feel like we've played the majority of Act 1 now in early access. I feel like if it's going to be an Origin character, we should have bumped into them at least. So the only ones that kind of spring to mind are, at the moment, are Alfira and Volo, and to be honest, I doubt Volo would be an Origin character. So I'm sort of inclining towards potentially it being Alfira, but I might be wrong. Again, this is a pure guessing game. So other characters we can also recruit to the camp are Barkus Root, who's a deep gnome. He's the gnome on the windmill that you either save or basically choose to kill if you don't press the brake lever. You can actually recruit him in your camp and have him stay for a while, but I doubt he is an Origin character. It's a tiefling called Elika, who you bump into just before you encounter the Gith patrol. So she's up above on the bridge, spying on them basically, or keeping an eye on them. And you bump into her, and there's a bit of dialogue, and you kind of invite her to join you, but she declines. So that might be something. And then she leaves, and then you don't see her again, basically. So it's kind of a 1 minute encounter, if that. So that could be an Origin character, although she seemed like a ranger or a rogue. Uh, Again, that might change once they add monk, because they're free to change classes. But at the moment in early access, she seems like a ranger or a rogue type character. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts. I'm kind of leaning towards Alfira. She was kind of a fan favorite for quite a few people. So I don't know. Larian might have listened to public opinion, and they might have actually made her into an Origin character. Who knows? I guess we'll find out on July 7th. Anyway, thank you very much for listening and joining me in this video. If you like this type of content, please consider giving us a like, um, commenting as to whether you think my hypothesis is accurate, or whether I'm completely crazy or going nuts about this. And yeah, if you do like the content, please feel free to subscribe as well. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one.